moving on to the rest of the NFL's draft, and we're gonna pick some teams that we think had the best draft overall. Because some teams, a lot of analysts are saying all these teams did a pretty good job with this draft. There weren't a lot of bad teams in this draft, so there's a lot of teams to choose from. Brandon, I'll let you go first. I know you got a couple of teams that you want to talk about who you thought had a really good draft here in 2021.
Yeah, honestly, I think there's probably four teams that got draft grades, and for my opinion, that are A and A plus. And I think the Bears are one of them. Honestly, moving up and getting Fields, jumping 9 picks, and getting your franchise quarterback for the next arguably 8 to 10 years is really the right move. They didn't give up too much when you consider you're getting your franchise quarterback in return. And then the next pick, they took Tevin Jenkins in the second round, who was arguably a first-round talent and dropped down the board. So they got an offensive tackle that is a first-round talent, now ready to protect Justin Fields, their franchise quarterback. And then their next pick, which was a little further down the line, was in the 5th round. They got another offensive tackle because they're looking to protect their franchise quarterback going forward and seeing what Fields can do. So I think the Bears were a great team that got a great draft grade, at least an A or an A plus. But I really think the team that had the best draft was the Broncos. And the Broncos got Patrick Surtain. They got a lockdown corner. They got Javonte Williams, out of a running back out of North Carolina, who has flashes of greatness and is a great backfield addition. And they also got Quinn Minarose. I'm probably murdering his name, but was the Division III lineman.
Miners.
Miners,
yeah.
So he really turned heads at the Senior Bowl and had a great combine and a great pro day. And people said this guy is really an NFL-ready lineman. And so the Broncos added him with their 3rd pick. So I think that was a great draft for them. I think they are arguably an A-plus draft. And then I'm even going to bring up another team and another 2 teams. Quickly, the Jaguars, because they possibly got the best player in the draft, and Lawrence, obviously. And then they got Travis Etienne, his teammate, with their 2nd round. They moved up to get him, or their 2nd pick. They moved up to get him. So teaming those 2 teammates together, I think, is a great play going forward. And those are going to be great players. But honestly, the Jets, too. You got to give the Jets a little bit of a heads up here. Getting possibly their franchise quarterback with Zach Wilson, but then I thought the big move was moving back up and getting Elijah Moore, who was a great wide receiver, arguably a first-round talent as well. So I think those are 4 teams that had really good drafts. If I had to pick one, I'm going with the Broncos.
Yeah, Elijah Moore was the guy I was hoping the Patriots would take early in that 2nd round once we saw that he had dropped to day 2. But the Jets took him a few spots ahead. I wonder if he was still there, if they would have traded up for him, instead of Barmore. If Barmore was off the board at that point, if they would have traded up to get Elijah Moore. But, that's not what happened. They got Barmore. But I agree with those, definitely. The team that I thought did really well in this draft was I keep wanting to say San Diego. The LA Chargers, I thought, did really well. We keep talking about, with the Bengals. We thought that the Bengals should have taken Paye to protect their franchise quarterback, okay? And they did. They took Jamar Chase. We get it. There's the LSU connection, outstanding receiver. Burrow's going to have a guy to throw to. We totally get it, but I still think they should have taken Paye. What do the Chargers do at 13? They take Rashawn Slater, who was considered the 2nd best tackle, maybe the best, and ready to go overall offensive lineman. They take him there at number 13 to protect Justin Herbert. Makes total sense. 2nd round, number 42 overall, they take Asante Samuel Jr., the corner out of Florida State. We know his dad, very good corner for the Patriots. They needed corners. Last year they took Kenneth Murray in the 1st round, the very athletic linebacker. They already got Joey Bosa. Now they go to the 3rd level of defense, to the secondary. They add Asante Samuel Jr. Makes total sense. And then in the 3rd round, they took Josh Palmer, the receiver out of Tennessee, a guy I was hoping the Pats might get in the 3rd round. That late 2nd, early 3rd round, a lot of people wanted the Patriots to take a receiver. That was when sort of the next wave of receivers went. with Palmer, Dwayne Eskridge, some of those other guys. Elijah Moore, I believe, went in that area as well. Those are all the guys that went in that part of the third round. So they got Josh Palmer, a solid outside receiver. If Mike Williams, takes off, or, Keenan Allen's starting to get a little older, you got Josh Palmer, different kind of receiver than those two, but a guy who I think could be a very solid number 2 receiver maybe in the future. So I thought, you protect your franchise quarterback with Slater, who seems to be ready to go. Then you grab a very talented corner with a good pedigree with their dad who already played in the NFL, in Asante Samuel Jr. Then you come back and get a receiver who can be a solid contributor for you either this year or next year in Josh Palmer. I thought that the Chargers had a really good draft.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue with that, especially when you lay it out like that. I agree. Sounds like you drafted him. You were just selling me on that right there. But no, I agree. I mean, you got 3 really solid, great players with your top 3 picks, guys that are going to contribute pretty much right away and definitely doing what we thought the Bengals were going to do, which was protect their young quarterback. The Chargers have made sure that, hey, this guy dropped down the board. Why don't we go ahead and make sure we're going to secure our lineup and protect Justin Herbert, who was the rookie of the year last year and really had flashes of greatness and showing that he is going to be their franchise quarterback for their next 8 to 10 years. Justin Herbert was the guy that I wish the Patriots had moved up last year to try to target, but he just went so high in the draft. And now, after seeing a year of him playing in the NFL, you understand why. The kid was legitimately the best rookie with Justin Jefferson. I still would have voted Justin Jefferson as the rookie of the year because I just think quarterbacks get, overhyped and they get the MVP votes all the time. The rookie of the year votes just so easily because the ball's in their hand 24/7. They're the guy that gets the praise. They're the guy that gets all the down stuff when they lose. But I think Justin Jefferson really was the rookie of the year last year. But like I said, hey, the Chargers made the right draft pick, taking Rashawn Slater, the best lineman available, to go ahead and protect their rookie quarterback. Well, the rookie last year, but their franchise quarterback going forward. So I could see that. I think the Broncos and the Chargers having the best drafts, and they're in the same division and having to go up against each other. So, hey, this is it where it's like, I stocked up, you stocked up. Let's see who can be better going forward now.
Yeah, I agree. And, I think that, especially when you're going against the Chiefs, you got to have good drafts. You got to load up at certain positions because you got to compete with Kansas City, in your division going forward. So I think that's going to be an interesting dynamic between those two teams. But I would agree with you on the Broncos, too. I mean, anybody who's going to get Surtain, especially right around then. I know the Cowboys really wanted Surtain at 10. So the fact that the Broncos took him there at 9, people thought that the Broncos should have possibly taken a quarterback. They could have taken Fields. I think that's the only criticism I might have, but they just picked up Teddy Bridgewater, so they're just kind of kicking the can down the road of when they need to get a quarterback. If they didn't love Fields, I get it. Then you take Surtain, who I think is going to be a stud. So that makes total sense.